Hey everybody, welcome back to the Overwatch Project. It's July 15th, 2020, and my website is overwatchproject.com. You can always start there if you are new here, and there's a ton of source material there for everybody to use, whether they've listened to me before or not. Lots of stuff there. Anyway, tonight I wanted to talk to you about my trip to the dentist. And the reason I want to talk to you about it is because of the ridiculous way they handled the mask situation at the dentist. And this is kind of blow your mind unless you've been experiencing craziness like this in many parts of the country, in the United States and all over the world. There's lots of insanity with the corona hoax, but I just want to say that before I get into this story, I'm going to link, if you're listening to this on Spreaker or YouTube or BitChute, or if I put it on Library, the links will be below. I'm going to link to my website, of course, overwatchproject.com. There's always a link to my Spreaker podcast. And then below that, I'm going to put two links to Fox 35 Orlando local news station in Florida. Now, for some odd reason, the reporter or the reporters at Fox 35 took a day off from having their neurons turned off and being mindless teleprompter readers to notice that the testing labs in Florida had been reporting an astonishing impossibility of 100% positive results in all corona testing reports. So in other words, lab after lab after lab, if they were testing 100 people they said were positive with the CV-19. And the reporter actually had enough brain activity, amazing, this alleged quote-unquote reporter had enough brain activity to realize that is practically an impossibility. It's like winning the lottery 10 times over. So they started actually doing something that reporters claim that they do, or at least may have done in the distant past, and that's actually investigate something. So they Fox 35 people called these labs, and most of them didn't want to talk, but the ones that did apparently reported that they made the mistake. Like, I think one of them said that instead of 100% positive cases, that they actually only had 9%. So they made a 91% mistake. They said it was a mistake. Now, I don't know where you work or what you do for a living, but if you go to work and you screw up 91 things out of 100, probably going to get fired, I would imagine, right? First of all, that's impossible, right? Nobody's going to, even if you were to guess in a multiple choice test, you probably can't get 91 out of 100 wrong. You're probably going to get more than 9 right, even if you just guessed or skimmed the test, right? So clearly this looks obviously intentional and ridiculous, right? It should be, along with all the other ridiculous things that we have to listen to. But I go to the dentist the other day, so I had a filling that fell out, and I was in pain. So I had no ability to deal with the normal, I'm just going to go to a store and not wear my mask because I'm just going to go shopping. If they give me a hard time, I'll just either leave or I'll have them do that curbside pickup where they bring me my merchandise out to my car or whatever. But I was in pain. I had to get this filling replaced. It was kind of a dental emergency. So I went to the dentist, and I expected, because it's the dentist, that probably the employees there would be wearing masks. They would probably not have any patients scheduled at the same time as when they scheduled me for my filling emergency procedure. And they would just probably take me in. Everybody there would be masked up. They probably have some kind of extensive cleaning and disinfection process in the rooms or whatever, and they would just quickly work on my tooth and get me out the door. But that's not what happened. So I show up, and at the door they said, "Well, you can't come in without a mask." I said, "Well, I don't have one. This is the dentist. You guys are going to be working on my open mouth with a drill or whatever, spraying water all over the place." So I figured, what's the point of wearing a mask? Of course, that's silly me being sane, a little bit sane, trying to think logically and reasonably. But no, she said, no, you can't come in without me. We'll give you one. So I'm in pain. I don't have time to argue. So I'm just okay, And you cannot enter a discussion with people if you see an individual who not only wears a mask everywhere they go, but they seem to get offended or angry if anybody's not wearing a mask. You can't go up to them and give them facts and information and show them reference material and have them go, "Oh yeah, I was wrong about that." That's not how human beings work. Wait, they doubled down. So it's pointless to argue with people. 99% of the time, you're just wasting your time. Unless somebody's receptive to having their minds changed, their minds will not change. I've talked about this in other videos. So I'm not going to argue with the woman. I need to get inside. So I put this surgical mask on my face. Now, they're very insistent that I wear it above my nose and that it's pinched and all that stuff, right? So I enter the waiting room. It's a very small dental office, has a tiny waiting room. There's nobody in the waiting room but me. But I can't sit in the waiting room chairs. They told me, no, you're going to go right into the room where we're going to fix your tooth. And I'm like, okay. So I literally walk to the front door with the mask on that I just put at the front door. I walk maybe 20 feet, 30 feet into the hallway and make a right into a room. They sit me down in the chair and then they go, "Okay, you can take your mask off now." So I'm like, okay, take the mask off. And then they said, you haven't been here for a cleaning. We'd like to do that too today while you're here. Is that okay? So I'm like, well, I'm already here, so sure, why not? So they do the cleaning, and then they're done. Then they keep in mind, what happens during a dental cleaning if you ever had one, right? So they do the whole cleaning thing, and then they were going to fix the filling. So they're going to numb me with some Novocaine and fix the filling. So they were kind of careful not to touch that tooth while they were cleaning everything else. And then as soon as they were done cleaning, though, they had me put the mask back on. Now, you see the insanity, the ridiculousness of this. So I put the mask back on, and they're like, "Please pinch it above your nose. Please have it above your nose." So I'm like, okay, yeah, all right. So I sit in there claustrophobic with this mask on for about 2 minutes, and the doctor comes in. And then they had me take the mask off. Then they fixed my filling. They had me put the mask back on, pay, and then I walk out the door and I take the mask off. The whole thing was an exercise of lunacy when you really think about it. I mean, it's totally ridiculous. Even if you were to believe, or even if it was true that these masks did what they said they were going to do for this alleged pandemic, even if they were honest, that procedure was reminded me of like the clown show that you see, where the clowns chase themselves around in the circus when they're killing time. I mean, it was just insane. It was just insane. What is the purpose of me wearing a mask to walk 30 feet to a dental chair where I take the mask off? They're going to do dental surgery on me, have me put the mask back on, then have me take it off, put it back on, then walk out the door with this mask. But this is the level of total insanity that we've been going. I've been thinking about naming this episode Fear and Loathing at the Dentist. The fear was on them, apparently. People do strange things when they're afraid. If you're not afraid and you're observing other people near you afraid, then you see how, kind of bizarre people act when they're fearful, especially if their fear is based on just pure emotion and not facts. It really does look like crazy people doing crazy things. And I don't know if anybody out there can relate to this nonsense. And normally my podcast is about metaphysical stuff, spiritual stuff, afterlife, reincarnation. But I just had to share this with you because it was too crazy not to share. So, if there was anybody doing any loathing, I guess it was me. And if they were the fearful part, I don't know. I might just call it masked at the dentist. I don't know what I'm going to call this. But, all right. So on other things before I check out, just a reminder, go to overwatchproject.com. Right at the top portion of the website, you'll find some interesting links right there as you scroll down, and you'll see my latest podcast and other material. I think actually I haven't updated the latest podcast in a few times, so I might be out of date. I'll have to do it tomorrow or something. And that's about it. So I'll talk to you guys later, and have a good day, good night, wherever you are. Take care. Bye.